Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge quest to solve one of healthcare's most critical challenges, the journey to build a completely autonomous pharmacy. And right at the heart of that journey is a company called Omnicell. So, let's just start with a really big question. What if a hospital's pharmacy could literally run itself? And I'm not just talking about a few robots here and there. I mean a totally integrated, intelligent system that's designed from the ground up to eliminate errors. It sounds a little like science fiction, I know, but it's the future Omnicell is working to build, right now. But why? Why does a self-running pharmacy matter so much? Well, to really get it, you have to understand the problem it's trying to solve. In medicine, the stakes are just about as high as they get, because we are talking about the incredible human and financial cost of medication errors. Think about it for a second. When it comes to something like a medication error, giving the wrong drug or the wrong dose, what's an acceptable number of mistakes? There's only one answer, right? It's zero. That's the guiding principle. That is the absolute North Star for this entire mission. So, facing that impossible-sounding goal of zero errors, Omnicell came up with a really bold vision, the autonomous pharmacy. It's basically a blueprint for a future where medication mistakes could actually become a thing of the past. So, what is it, really? Well, the autonomous pharmacy is a system that's designed to be zero error from day one. See, the goal isn't to make people work harder or be more perfect. It's to build a fully automated, data-driven process that manages every single pill from the moment it arrives at the hospital right up to the patient's bedside. Okay, so a bold vision is one thing, but how do you actually make it happen? The answer is all about connecting technology across the entire journey that a medication takes through the hospital. And they've thought about the whole thing, from start to finish. It all begins in the central pharmacy, where you've got robotics preparing complex meds and IVs. Then, out at the point of care, automated cabinets make sure nurses get secure access to exactly the right dose. And behind the scenes, you've got AI managing inventory to slash waste. The system even follows the patient home with tools to make sure they're taking their medicine correctly. It's a true end-to-end solution. Now you might be thinking, okay, but other companies are in this space. So what really gives Omnicell a competitive edge? Why are they the ones who can actually pull off this super ambitious vision? The key difference is really in the approach. You see, traditionally, hospitals would buy a bunch of different solutions from different vendors. This created all these separate siloed systems and data that was scattered all over the place. Omnicell's advantage is its single integrated platform. With all the data in one place, you get incredibly powerful analytics. And for the hospital, it means dealing with one strategic partner instead of, a dozen different vendors. This big strategic idea is also changing their business model. They're moving away from just selling hardware one time and toward a software as a service, or SaaS model, with subscriptions and expert services. This creates predictable recurring revenue, which is great. But more importantly, it turns a simple sale into a real long-term partnership. So when you put it all together, their strength really comes down to four key pillars. First, they have decades of customer trust in a field where trust is everything. Second, a product lineup that covers the whole medication journey. Third, they're constantly innovating. And finally, it's all tied together by that powerful long-term vision of the autonomous pharmacy. But of course, it's not all smooth sailing. To get the full picture here, we have to be realistic and take a look at the hurdles that Omnicell is facing down the road. What's funny is their biggest challenge is actually the flip side of their biggest strength. That strategic pivot to a subscription model, it's brilliant for long-term stability. The hurdle, though, is that it comes with high upfront costs, and that can squeeze their profit margins during the transition. It's that classic short-term pain for long-term gain scenario. And on top of that internal challenge, they've got external pressures too. Competition in this space is fierce. Healthcare regulations are always changing, and like any company that makes hardware, they're vulnerable to bumps in the global supply chain. So, we've gone through the vision, the technology, and the challenges. But let's bring it all home. What does this all mean in the real world? Who really benefits when a pharmacy becomes autonomous? Well, for hospitals, the value is just crystal clear. Fewer medication errors mean safer patients and lower liability risks. And all that automation leads to way more efficiency, which helps keep a lid on those spiraling healthcare costs. It's a win-win. And this is a huge one for the professionals on the front lines. Look, automation isn't about replacing pharmacists. It's about empowering them. By freeing them up from all those manual, repetitive tasks, it lets them use their incredible expertise on complex clinical work and, most importantly, on direct patient care. And if you're looking at this from an investor's perspective, the appeal really circles back to that business model shift we talked about. Having a predictable, recurring revenue stream in a sector as vital and as growing as healthcare automation, well, that presents a very stable growth model. Ultimately, this whole thing isn't just about selling tools or machines. It's about delivering outcomes you can actually measure. Fewer errors, less waste, more uptime, and at the end of the day, just plain better patient care. And that brings us to one final, really crucial thought to leave you with. As our healthcare systems get more and more complex every single year, is full automation like this no longer just a nice to have, but maybe the only real way forward?